Welcome to another episode of my Motortown post-event race commentary. Today we got the Trophy Tour, hosted on TWL, another one of my events, taking the new Trophy 2 around the OG coastline, which has been expanded by the new Northwestern Road. Multiple stages, point to point, pretty straightforward, so let's get right into this. This is from the first set. So, as per usual, TWL hosts the event twice. One more for US American times and one more for European. And yeah, we are getting right into this. This car is outfitted with a 180 horsepower V8. So, decently powerful, but nothing too crazy. As I mentioned before, the car kinda drives quite nicely, but it's also a handful, so sometimes it's going to try to kill you, and therefore I didn't really want to put in something that's just too crazy. Got a few incidents here already, and that got me in the lead. So sometimes I get caught up inside them and just have a worse time, and sometimes I'm actually able to capitalize on these things. So now I'm in the lead, followed by Luggage and Omnihill. Of course, Omnihill being one of the stronger drivers in the roster, so gotta be careful. They are likely going to try and get my positions sooner or later. But yeah, right now other people are falling behind a bit, and us three, we are quite far ahead of everybody else. Since we started at Ara facing south, we are now going on the faster paced section of the coastline. So this is a really nice stretch of road, really smooth, and yeah, with a lot of wider bands. Can also be quite tricky, especially if you try to take the maximum amount of speed through the corners, but yeah, we're going to see how this one goes. So for now it's going to be more fast paced, and that's quite nice, but you're also gonna be careful if, for example, with this corner in particular, it's very easy to overshoot and end up somewhere on the side of a hill there. But yeah, also now Luggage has fallen behind Omnihill right on my tail, so gotta be careful here. And overall, what can I say? I like the car as it is. But after the stages were over, after the entire event was done, I went and refit a few things. We will see some issues here and there later in the race, and there are some things that I needed to address with the car that didn't come up during testing. The overheating here isn't necessarily one of them. I have the 6-speed transmission in this, so I could have upshifted a bit earlier, but decided not to. Didn't feel like I was in trouble. I didn't keep an eye on the temperature. But yeah, this is actually something that tends to happen with this car for some reason. I mean, it's the same engine as in a lot of other cars that I have. It's the same transmission and other parts. These are all high performance parts, but in the end, the car overall isn't. So I don't know what's up with that. This is another one of those potentially tricky corners. Doesn't look as sharp of a bend as it turns out to be, but I played it safe here, therefore I kept the lead, nothing too dangerous here. But yeah, a lot of these corners, they seem the same, and if you don't know which one is which, you might end up flying out of one of them. Because some are just a bit sharper than the others. But yeah, this race immediately gave me a reminder, keep an eye on the temperatures, don't spend too much time in high rev. If the car has some exceptionally high drag coefficient, that's just gonna mean trying to stay in high rev is going to take more energy, introduce more heat. But yeah, this was really likely the defining moment of the race here. Not the overheating, but the fact that I spun out doing the braking zone there. So hard braking in this car, not really recommended. May need to shift the brake bias a bit further forward again. But yeah, we are now going into the more tricky section. Also, of course, as always, gonna keep an eye on all of the road damage here. Tends to spin out the car quite easily. It's just something that, I mean, we all know how this goes these days and gonna be careful about it. Can't really avoid all the potholes, but maybe we can avoid some of the issues from them. Slightly overcooked it here. Like, I'm trying to keep up with Omni Hill. I would really like my position back. I don't think that's going to happen. But at least I'm still very far ahead of third place, so second could be something to keep here. Another issue with braking, and that fully spun me out when I hit the barrier there, so that took quite a bit of time recovering from that. Still somewhat ahead of everybody else here, so yeah, not in immediate danger of losing my place at least. And yeah, since we are running this in multiple stages, none of these stages are too long, and therefore I was able to use a lot of checkpoints here. In some cases I would say I could probably delete some of them, they aren't all necessary, but with how long this entire event turned out to be, I didn't spend the most amount of time trying to refine everything. We are going to see that especially with the checkpoints where we need to turn a corner. It's a lot of stages, a lot of ground to cover, and therefore, since this is likely going to be a one-off, I decided against giving it a full treatment. But yeah, this is the end of the first stage. Just above 6 minutes. Bit more for the people further down the line. And yeah, from this point on, we are going to soon start the second one right at this location. Turned out to be a blessing that we got the currently non-functional electronics factory here, because this means having a space to respawn. We just need a parking lot here. So yeah, I'm just grabbing myself, I think a Campy is what I'm looking for at this point. I've completely forgot to turn off the recording for this one. So that's going to be on for a bit longer. But yeah, basically we are taking this Campy around the entire map. Put them down when we finish a stage, and then go and repair, refuel, do that in Gangyang or something, and then return to this location. So yeah, I think at this point we can safely skip this, because there's not really much going to happen anymore anyways. But yeah, we are back for the second stage. Same location, bit later in the day, because, well, had to let everybody finish, had to get repairs, refueling, and all of that done. And this is also where we get into something that I may have omitted from the initial description of this event. We are not just using the only coastline. This is a bit longer than that. So yeah, trying to stay beside Omni Hill without getting into any incidents here. But yeah, only would have maybe been a bit too short for what I had in mind, so we are actually going around Jeju Island as well. So first order of the day is survive this little tricky section, get on the highway, and then just floor it. Any damage taken up until this point would have been absolutely disastrous for the time on the highway here. We need to get in good shape, and then we can really put down the gas pedal and get some speed going. And yeah, we are basically mostly in the same position as we ended the last race. Omni Hill in front, me in second, Chess in third, then Luggage, Kersplat, whatever. Roike and Lucas. We lost a person between the stages. Somebody either had to disconnect or just had to go. But yeah, we are still 7 people, and we are now going towards not only Jeju Island, but also Jeju City. So taking the long way around the island and then coming back to OG in the next stage. This area is always a bit tricky. Gonna be careful, and especially when it comes to the braking zone here. Managed to not lose it. It got a bit sketchy towards the end, but going out of the braking zone in a slight drift actually helped me setting up for the next turn. Everybody else has slightly fallen back. And this is now where we also have to go to the right. I don't know if I should have maybe set up the checkpoint a bit differently. I definitely got this place back because Omniel wasn't really expecting that turn. So, I don't know. Didn't try to confuse anybody, but this is what may have ended up happening. I mean, that is a tough braking zone. You go from really high speed to very low speed trying to make that turn. But yeah, hey, I may have gotten a bit of an advantage, but at least nothing too crazy, but I mean, sometimes it can just help a little bit, so why not accept the gift and take the position, hope to keep it. And to be clear, I didn't go too crazy about trying to include every single coastline road here. For example, with this area, we are just going to go straight through instead of taking that really squiggly little coastal road there. You can go for a few chicanes and technical sections in that area, but overall, in some cases, it's better to just keep a bit of the speed going and, well, just keep the pace. I don't want to go for every single possible detour. In some cases it helps make the stage a bit more interesting, but there is definitely a balance to be struck there. And yeah, I just fell back into second place again. I mean, not too unexpected here. Luggage is in third, somewhere behind me. But I think I'll be able to actually make this without too much of an issue, so yeah. Unless something like this happens, you really don't want to be on that side of the flower plants, but sometimes, yeah, what can you do? Just immediately take the car to a seller and get rid of it after shit like that. I mean, I could. I have like 4 of these, so I'm fine on that front. But yeah, we're now turning a bit inwards because of the next corner. That's a nicer combination from this road. But yeah, third place currently. Still a good ways ahead of Chess, so might be able to keep this. But Luggage just started running away from me and I don't think I'll be able to catch up again. The car is giving me all sorts of trouble at this point, but overall, it's okay. You win some, you lose some. Can already see the finish line to the left there, because we are almost at the end of the second stage. Don't know what happened there. Might have been a pothole. Might have been just the car attempting a murder. But here we are. Second stage over. Won't even need the campy here because we got our gas station and tuning garage right there. And with that, we can basically wait for the rest of the people and then start the next stage. So yeah, Chess just came in 13 seconds later. And we are now ready to go for the third stage, back to OG. The finish line will be at Baiyang. So that means going across the highway again, this time around the Western Highway and past Ansem. And if you notice in first position there, As I mentioned, I got multiple ones of or multiple versions of this car. I actually prepared 3 additional versions just for the event, so they are all tuned identically, and apart from having a different color scheme, it's also the same livery. And Lucas is driving one of them. The other 2 didn't really need to be used, so they are just standing at the starting line. And that's the starting line all the way back down in Ara. It's actually kind of amazing how quickly we went from Ara all the way up to Jeju City, and now we are going all the way back down again. Somebody apparently missed a checkpoint there. Again, with some of the stuff, I'm a bit sorry that I didn't put in the time to make the checkpoints where you turn off the main road just stick out a bit longer, or stick out a bit more. The thing is, that's usually like a 5-minute process for every single one of these, and I take the time for stuff like lap-based track, because even on a single race you usually see the same checkpoints 3, 4, 5 times depending on the track length. But for something like this, which might not ever get repeated, I'm a bit more hesitant to put in that kind of time. And for the most part, it's kind of working out as it is right now, but in some instances, maybe I should have put in a bit more time here and there. But yeah, I'm down in 3rd place now, so we got Omnihill once again in 1st, followed by Chaz. I might have a chance here to get the 2nd place back, but we'll have to see about that. Going in and around Helm now. But yeah, for the most part, this is another rather straightforward section right here. There isn't really anything too difficult that I want to do with the stages. But yeah, getting on the highway is going to be interesting, especially if you got some damage going on. The Omnihill 300 meters away, Chaz just 100 meters, and going through these little chicanes here. I mean, these checkpoints have been taken straight from one of my other tracks that goes through the area, so yeah, I know this area by heart, and I know that it's kind of tricky. Some of these corners are a bit hard to read, and if you don't get them correctly, going on the flower banks is a recipe for disaster. It doesn't always have to screw you up, but the likelihood is rather high. Another little chicane right here, and now we are turning off to the highway once again. I don't know what happened to everybody behind us, but we are the top 3 pretty close to one another, but after that there's just a huge gap to the rest of the field. And now we might run into the same issue as in the first stage again. We are going on high revs for a long time, and honestly with a lot of other cars that I've driven through here, even with the same or similar engines, they never take that long in high rev before they can actually get to the red line and have me upshift. But with this one in particular, it's a bit of an issue, and we should really keep an eye on the temperatures here. That's going to rise further and further. Really should have upshifted already. There it is, 5th gear, but a tiny bit too late. But good reminder that I should upshift earlier, and we can already see the same over there happening to Chaz. Getting into 6th gear a bit too early under other circumstances, but for this one, hopefully the lower revs let me just cool down a little bit more. Chess is overheating again. I'll be, I think, kind of throttle dancing a little bit in order to just not completely overheat it. Just going off the gas for a little bit, keeping it around 220. Slowly coming closer to chess, but might not be enough after all. But yeah, you don't want to overheat. It's not going to be the end of the world, but it's going to slow you down a decent amount. Trying to get this section right, I remember most of the times usually just driving into the hill and then flying off into the distance. With the bend in the highway before we hit the actual island and then having to slow down so much, it's actually quite tricky. But yeah, here we are. Another sub 6 minute stage over here. So these are really quite short for the most part. But yeah, there are quite a few of them. 6 stages in total. We are now at the halfway point. Next one is going to get us all the way to the quarry. From that point on, the one after will get us from the quarry to Daza on the new road. And last one will be the good old desert stage. But yeah, here we go, starting once again at night. Actually going into the night now, so this is likely going to be dark for most if not the entire stage. But yeah, starting in the front, getting into first really quickly, and then just trying to get away from everybody else. I think there may have been an incident behind me. Some person there just kind of spun out, it seemed. Started going in a weird direction, that's all that I can tell from the map. But yeah, I'm just trying to drive as quickly as I can, stay away from everybody else, and hopefully get a bit of a lead here. Not that that's really going to happen. I mean, I'm still keeping my place, but Omni Hill is right on my back here. And yeah, some of the bumps are quite tricky, and I'm definitely not really lined up well, and yeah, that was not great. Also a bit awkward getting the checkpoint from here, but I managed. But yeah, I'm now very far behind everybody else here. Alcasplat, however, yeah, completely spun out there, so that's already me getting back one position. The radiator damage might not even matter all that much. This area is usually pretty slow, so yeah, there's a lot of braking, a lot of sharp turns, and therefore, since you don't even get into high rev, you don't really have to worry about the engine heat all that much. But yeah, trying to keep up with luggage and chessboard, hopefully getting back another position or two. I mean, I'm already back up in fourth, so we are definitely in a good place right here. Could be getting up into second if the stars align. And I gotta say, one thing I'm really happy about with this entire thing as I set it up, since we are having multiple short stages, I was really able to use a lot of checkpoints here. As I mentioned before, not all of them are necessary, but overall, I feel like first up for orientation, it's a good thing to have a few more. And also, while you could theoretically go fully off the road and still catch most of these, I think overall it kind of helps avoid some of the bigger shortcuts here. I mean, I recently did another race on a server where we tested out a really long route that did a lot of the stuff that we are doing in multiple stages here in just one race. So there weren't really that many checkpoints anywhere. and for the most part you are still sticking to the same roads and all of that. But with stuff like this area, for example, it would be really easy to just cut straight across, and I like that this is a bit more keeping the player on the road instead of just letting them do whatever. But yeah, if I had it my way, we would definitely get a few more checkpoints per event here. The current limit is still at 50, and I'm using most of them, if not all of these, for a lot of the stages. I think the Jeju stages may have been a bit shorter in terms of the amount of checkpoints, but otherwise, for this one, I think I went for 50, and the same is going to be for the next one, and yeah, could use a few more. If we had a few hundred checkpoints, I would likely stitch all of these together into one single race. That would be a different kind of experience, but something that I would really like to see. Also, after getting actually into second place on this stage, that corner over there, I always had trouble taking it, so I was really keen to see if anybody else would fly off into the ocean at that point. So I'm kind of just positioning myself here in order to have a bit of a look at everything. Almost. If he slid out a bit differently, Arca Splat would have definitely gone splat over there. Or more like splash in the ocean. Should see another person coming across the hill there in a moment. But yeah, no such luck on getting anything cinematic here. If we had more people, I think one of them would have done it. Anyways, we are on to the new road now. This is all new terrain, and what can I say? I love this one. So let's get started. Hopefully in a moment. But yeah, when it comes to the amount of checkpoints, I might actually have to reconsider a few things, because overall, while it feels like there are a lot of open areas that would be open to abuse, like going a bit to the right here, the benefit isn't really all that great, and I think most people would just stick to the road anyways. But I like with these checkpoints that it just removes the possibility overall. Also, I don't know if you heard that, but since we are getting close to New Year's Eve here, the neighbors are going a bit crazy with fireworks. It's not even fireworks, it's just stupid explosions. You can hear it on one side of the building before it reverberates from the other side again. It's stupidly loud. And actually not even legal, but what's the police gonna do? Had some of these at 4 a.m. or something, just really waking me up from my sleep, so I'm a bit pissed about this stuff. It's just kinda annoying. Careful, another issue with the harsh braking zones and everything. Seems like it also caught some of the other people off guard. Actually, right now Chess is still in second place, Omnihill in third, so I might not have to fight Omnihill here, but it really depends on how things go. I mean, I'm not just going to assume that I'll be in first place by the end of all of this, because this is tricky, and I'm not doing the best job here. Also, as I mentioned in the beginning, there are this event has been held twice on the TWL server. So there is a second set, and I participated, I got the recordings, but I'm not entirely sure if I want to make a commentary for that. But yeah, I just managed to lose my position, so I'm down in third now. Omni Hill, as per usual, back in first, so good job me. But yeah, the car can get a bit spicy. I try to make the best out of it. But overall, all the aero parts have really low effect, so yeah, besides it not really being a race car from the get-go, there are limits to what you can do here. But yeah, when it comes to the second set, basically I had a bit of a hangover when getting into that, so while this is happening between 4 and 5 a.m. for me with the first set over here, that somehow turned out to be the better session for me. I just couldn't sleep well after that one. So, yeah. I might have a look at the other recordings, see if there's anything interesting. From what I remember, there are a few more participants, but my performance has definitely not been the greatest there, so yeah, didn't really work out too well in the end. But there might be some better back and forth there. With this one, I mean, there's likely going to be a few more overtakes looking at how close I'm getting to luggage there. And Chess and Omni Hill also not being too far out of reach. Oh, Chess actually got into a bit of a kerfuffle there. So I'm back in third now and still on luggage's tail, so there might be something happening. But yeah, overall, there haven't been that many incidents. There hasn't been the greatest back and forth. I think luggage just got really messed up by that pothole over there. But hey, back in second. Yeah, just a few more turns to go before we get to the deserty part, which still isn't fully the end of it, but very close to it. So the stage isn't going to go on for too much longer, but there are still a few potentially tricky corners up ahead, so gotta be careful. And this one almost did me in, but managed to recover. Yeah, I doubt I'll be catching up on Omni Hill here anytime soon. He's just gone pretty much. I still need to perform decently well, otherwise Chess will get back second place, and I'd rather not see that happening. Although I'm not really doing much to prevent that right now, so this is really not the position I want to be in right now, just kind of being stuck in the dirt on the side of the road and Chess rapidly approaching. But yeah, we are at the 90% mark, so not too much more to go. The last bit doesn't have many checkpoints, so it's just gonna be a bit of a sprint. So likely still a bit longer to go than the percentage would suggest, but nothing too crazy here. Plus a slightly faster section towards the end, covering a bit more ground. And Daza should be appearing in front of us any moment now. Of course, with this game as it is right now, there's still a bit of an issue with render distance and everything just pops in way too closely. But hey, I'm keeping my second place, really happy about that, and this is the end of the fifth stage. Last one, almost ready to go here. Okay, final stage. And this is just going to be us driving down to Senho and then towards the desert gas station. I actually recently made a suggestion about getting another gas station over here because Yeah, now that we have a new road, there isn't really any gas station on the west coast, and it's kind of not amazing. You can easily run into fuel problems here, and I think having a gas station right next to the harbor would be a good solution for that. Potentially expanding that into a full-on truck stop with a few more things going on. Yeah, slightly running into Royko over there, who may be lagging a little bit, and yeah, I got caught out here. Didn't go too well, but this is just the start of a stage, so a lot of things can happen. This might get all worse or better, we will have to see. But it seems like I'm about to get at least one position back, so yeah. This is already going towards slight improvement at least. And I mean, the rest of the group is right there. We are not really out of the race yet, so just gonna hang in there and gonna get back those positions. With how nasty the deep sand is, I could have really saved a lot of checkpoints here if I were to integrate this into another stage. But overall, I like somewhat frequent checkpoints, not only for guidance, but also because it updates the leaderboard. And yeah, it just keeps you from feeling like you might be going the wrong direction. And also just to really mark out the corner apex and everything. But yeah, here we go. Approaching Senho. I mean, back and forth position, we are doing pretty well over here. Gotta be careful around here. It's too easy to take that corner a bit too quickly and then run into one of the road signs or the bus stop on the outside. It's really easy to mess itself up for the rest of the race here. But yeah, now that we are through this, it's just a lot of fast and wide turns, but it's also kind of the same issue as with the fast-paced ARA section. Because some of these turns are very easy, you can just take them at full speed, but there are also some that are a bit deceiving. I should have maybe kept away from Chess there, but thankfully nothing too bad happened. Just a slight bump in the back, but didn't cause him to spin out or anything. And with this one, this looked like I just carelessly drove into him, but I was really kind of at the limit of what my car could do here. So this looked maybe a bit weird, but I was really trying to avoid that, just didn't do the best job. And at some point, while inside the turn and already at the limit of what the tires can do, braking is also not a good idea. But I could have maybe stepped off the gas or something. I just didn't really... it didn't register with me that I was going for a collision there. So yeah, a bit of back and forth there. And I think the person who just ran right into me after that incident may have gotten some more severe damage. So likely really got the short end of the stick there. Yeah, here we go, back in third position. Omni Hill and Chess right in front of me. But yeah, I gotta say that overall, with how I tuned the car, especially the aero changes I did last minute, went from a completely different aero kit to this one here. It felt really good, and I mean, even especially in the first stage with how I drove away from everybody else. This is overall going really well. I mean, I say that as I'm stuck in the sand now. But yeah, the car is performing about as good as you could hope for. And I could see myself hosting another event with this constellation at some point. Not necessarily the same roads here, although I could see reusing the coastal stage set over here for another event in the future. It was pretty well received overall. But yeah, just doing maybe lap-based races with this same car seems like it could be a lot of fun. And despite being at the Terra factory already, we are barely through half of the stage right here. It always feels like this would be very close to the end, but nope, this actually has quite a bit more to go. And this is also where checkpoints actually become important again, because while we still have a bit of desert on the left with deep sand and everything, to the right it's all different types of terrain, and those could be really used for shortcuts. So if I want people to stay on the road, I have to enforce it via checkpoints, otherwise they're just going everywhere they want. And I think at this point there might not even be desert sand on the left anymore. So yeah, really gotta be careful here. And yeah, my hopes are that in the end, at some point, we will actually get the road going straight over there. In the announcement, the devs said that they have completed the ring road, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there's going to hopefully be another connection into ARA from here. Hopefully without any dirt road, because I would love nothing more than to make an ARA coastal road raceway or something. Once again, likely going to need a few more checkpoints, but that would be amazing. As it is right now, the connection back to ARA would have to go through that Oasis Road section on the dirt, and that's always very deadly, so didn't really want to go there. Instead, we are just going to go towards the center of the island now. It's not going to go on for too much longer. The end of the race is going to be where we go from the tarmac or the pavement, whatever, to the dirt road. So we are just going to follow it to the transition point, and that's going to be the end of that. But yeah, I'm likely going to come in at 5th place right here. I mean, overall, my performance in the last stage wasn't too amazing, and I completely took that turn the wrong way, so can't really expect too much better from that. But overall, this event has been a lot of fun. I love the car more than I would have expected up until this point. And honestly, the game needs more of these regular, relatively simple sedans and other similar types of cars. Maybe some sports cars here and there, but just regular cars that might not be all that standoutish when you just look at the traffic and everything. But things that you can maybe do something cool with and then have races like these. So yeah, overall, really happy with how all of that turned out. I love the car, I love the event that we had here, the stages are working out pretty well. So yeah, really good event. I don't know if it's really worth it getting into the second set of it. But yeah, I want to at least show you guys one of them. So here we are. So with that being said, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. As always, see you guys next time. And until then, have a good one. Bye bye.